Racist cop arrested her own boss by mistake. Then this happened. It was a calm morning in Rivermont, with the sun hanging low in the sky, casting a soft golden glow over the city. The birds chirped in the distance, and the neighborhood was alive with the quiet rhythm of early risers, coffee shops brewing their first pots, joggers trotting along the sidewalks, and the world, for a brief moment, felt at peace. But not every morning brings peace. Sometimes, the calm is shattered by a storm of injustice. In this particular neighborhood, a man walked casually down the street. His attire was simple, just a gray t-shirt, blue jeans, and sneakers. He carried no bags, no visible signs of wealth or status, just himself. To anyone paying attention, he seemed like a man on his way to run an errand or meet a friend. But not to Officer Karen Daniels. A patrol officer, she was no rookie. Far from it. She had a reputation, though not one to be proud of. She often boasted about her sharp instinct for spotting suspicious behavior, but her fellow officers whispered about her selective enforcement of the law. That morning, her instincts led her to one conclusion: the man didn't belong. Pulling her squad car to the curb, she stepped out with brisk authority, her hand resting on her gun holster. "Excuse me, sir," she called out. The man turned, calm but with a questioning look. "Yes, officer? What are you doing in this neighborhood?" she asked, her tone sharp and almost accusatory. "I live here," he replied, gesturing toward the row of houses nearby. Her eyes narrowed. "Can I see some ID?" The man sighed, his voice steady but tinged with irritation. "Why am I being accused of something?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pressed. "Show me your ID." He hesitated before replying firmly, "I'm a police officer. I'm on duty, undercover." It should have ended there. Any reasonable person would have paused to verify his claim. But Officer Daniels didn't. "Undercover," she scoffed. "Dressed like that? Do you think I'm stupid?" Her disbelief quickly escalated into action. Without waiting for his response, she radioed in a possible suspect in an ongoing investigation. Moments later, backup arrived. 2 more officers stepped out of their cars, tension evident in their posture. The man repeated himself, his frustration growing. "I'm a cop. I've told you that 3 times now. Check my badge number. It's in the system." But his words fell on deaf ears. Officer Daniels ignored him, laser-focused on proving her assumptions. She accused him of money laundering, claiming he matched the description of a suspect in a recent case. The absurdity of the accusation hung in the air, but no one challenged her. As the man was handcuffed and pushed into the back of the squad car, he looked around the neighborhood. People stood at their windows, some peeking from behind curtains, others watching from porches. But no one intervened. No one spoke up. "I'm a police officer. Someone call my precinct," he called out. "This is wrong." But his cries were met with silence. The onlookers turned away, retreating into the safety of their homes. Hours passed. He sat in a holding cell, humiliated. His dignity stripped away as officers around him smirked or avoided his gaze. It wasn't until the precinct captain arrived, a man who immediately recognized the suspect, that the nightmare ended. This wasn't just any officer. This was Captain Eric Lewis, a veteran on the force for over 2 decades, known for his leadership, fairness, and dedication to justice. He had been undercover, investigating corruption within the city's neighborhoods, deliberately dressing down to avoid drawing attention. The revelation hit the department like a thunderclap. Whispers of disbelief turned into loud conversations as the truth unraveled. Officer Daniels, once so confident in her actions, now stood pale and shaken. Captain Lewis was released immediately, but the damage had been done. The shame of the incident was etched into every interaction that followed. When the story broke publicly, outrage swept through the city. Protests erupted, demanding accountability and justice. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #JusticeForEric and #SayNoToRacism, as people from all walks of life came together to denounce the systemic issues that had led to this moment. For Officer Daniels, there was no escaping the consequences of her actions. She was suspended for 6 months without pay and required to undergo intensive courses on racial bias, cultural sensitivity, and the ethics of policing. Some argued the punishment wasn't enough, while others believed it was a step in the right direction. As for Captain Lewis, he returned to his duties with a renewed sense of purpose, though the experience left a mark. He spoke publicly about the ordeal, using it as a platform to advocate for deeper changes within the police force. "This isn't just about me," he said during a press conference. "It's about every man, woman, and child who's been judged not for their character, but for the color of their skin. We must do better. All of us." The calm morning in Rivermont had ended in chaos. But from that chaos came a wave of determination. People began to ask harder questions, challenge ingrained biases, and demand transparency from those sworn to protect and serve. And while the road to justice is long, it's moments like these, moments of truth and reckoning, that remind us why the fight is worth it. Racism, unchecked power, and silence in the face of injustice can only thrive if we let them. So, the next time you see someone being treated unfairly, ask yourself, will I stand by or will I stand up? Because change starts with us, all of us. This story serves as a reminder of the work that remains to be done. Together, we can build a world where justice and equality aren't just words but a reality. Let's stand united and never stop fighting for what's right. If you've watched this far, comment with the country you're watching from and leave a 100 in the comments because you're the type of person who finishes what they start. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to get notified whenever we drop new videos.